before we leave the NFL for this season, Sidekick, you and I kind of called it here last week a little bit, as we kind of insinuated that, well, Joe Flacco might just be MVP. And sure enough, Joe Flacco got MVP for the Super Bowl. I guess, is it MVP for the playoff season, or is it just for the Super Bowl? It's for the season. Okay, for the playoff season. For the Super Bowl. Okay.
Yep.
But that didn't come as a surprise to me, and I don't think it came as a surprise to anybody else, as I just had listed his stats. No interceptions, what have you. And I think that the whole no interception thing had a lot to do with the decision on that. I think that was a big determinant. However, in the past few days, we've been hearing a word thrown around that I got to get your feel on, and that word is elite. Suddenly, Joe Flacco is being propelled and elevated up to the elite status. This was
something awesome. How far you've come.
This is something I don't know if I brought it up last week or not, but I know that I brought it up recently. This was something that Eli Manning was saying at the beginning of last season. You know, he was self-proclaiming himself as being, he thought he was an elite quarterback. And that was before he had won his second Super Bowl at the end of last season.
Well, let me stop you there.
Go ahead.
There's a little bit of a difference between the media and the fans proclaiming someone to be elite or trying to give that tag, and someone proclaiming that they are elite.
Okay. I got you there.
LeBron James, Eli Manning.
yeah, right. I got you. Chris Bosh, as Jonathan and I talked about on Fan Junkies Radio. No, I understand what you're saying. And so therefore, okay, good. I'll discount that one a little bit. But let's hang the elite tag for a moment on Joe Flacco. Really? Is this an elite quarterback? Seriously?
Well, that's always a great debate topic. Yeah, what constitutes elite? Is it the number of, is it Super Bowl wins? Is it stats during the season? You have quarterbacks like Dan Marino.
Is that elite?
Is Dan Marino considered elite? He has no Super Bowls. But when you talk about elite quarterbacks, some people put Dan Marino in there. So it's really subjective.
So this is very, very subjective. I was going to say, okay, so this is a very subjective thing.
So
when we're hearing the word elite being thrown around in the media, we should discount it. We should discount it because, it's subjective. That might be that one talk show person or that one anchor person making that statement, and not generally what.
Sure, because I'm sure if you ask any Baltimore Ravens, well, a majority of Baltimore Ravens fans, if they think Joe Flacco's elite, they're going to tell you he's elite.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't know. I think if you got analytical Baltimore fans, they might step back and say, well, no, he's a very good quarterback, and we'll take what we got. But elite is a characterization reserved for. Go ahead.
If you walk down the streets in Baltimore,
yes,
and you ask the
they're going to be running high right now, obviously.
Yeah, and that's what I mean by that. If you ask the average Joe fan, I think you'll find a majority of their fan base is going to say he's elite. There's always going to be people that are critical.
Okay, let me ask you a question. What do you say?
I do not believe we've seen enough for me to put him in the elite category yet. But here's where I will throw elite in. His performance during the playoffs this year was an elite performance.
Stellar.
I'm not rated
as
stellar. I would call it elite.
I'm going to cut hairs here. How about saying?
I would call his performance during this year's playoffs as elite, not the season, the playoffs. Okay, can you hang the elite franchise tag on him? Yes.
But you certainly can't hang an elite career.
But tag. I'm not going to hang. I'm not going to put his picture up next to Tom Brady
or Joe Montana.
Or Joe Montana. Or John Elway.
Right.
Or, or any of those guys yet.
Okay.
Okay. I'm kind of on the fence, honestly, about elite or Eli Manning. Even though he's got 2 rings. Even though he's got 2 rings. He's got 2 rings, but I'm not totally bought into him being elite. I mean, yes, he's knocked off Tom Brady twice. Okay, who is elite? But I'm not ready. I think he's on the cusp.
Okay, so Tom Brady is elite.
I will say Tom Brady is an elite quarterback.
Tom Brady is an active elite quarterback. Peyton Manning, is he elite?
I believe
one Super Bowl.
I believe Peyton Manning is elite.
Peyton Manning is an active elite quarterback. Are there any others that are active right now in the NFL? Aaron Rodgers.
You know what? I would put the bar at Aaron Rodgers.
If it's not it's not right there, it's darn close.
I think he's at the bottom. Anybody? That's where the bar is. Anybody else?
If you put the bar there, then why aren't you throwing Eli in there with 2 Super Bowls?
Good question. I think from a stats, and I don't have stats in front of me. I can't sit there and rip them off. But my personal opinion.
I know it's a gut, isn't it? It's a gut.
Gut feeling is that I think Aaron Rodgers has been more consistent and shown more poise as a quarterback than Eli. I think Eli's just a little bit inconsistent at times. When the years they went to the Super Bowl, he was spot on. The years in between the Super Bowls and stuff, he's not been that good. Okay. Aaron Rodgers, I mean, he may have a slow start to a season, but that guy, I mean, consistent every season. By the end of the season, his numbers are consistent.
Flacco wins a second Super Bowl. Elite?
I still put him with Eli Manning. I need to see a little bit more consistency out of him. Now, if he rides this wave that he had in his playoffs and he starts playing next season at a similar level, I'm not saying he has to have the no interceptions, but I think if he starts playing at the same level, then I think you can start saying elite. I think he's working his way towards that.
It's no secret that I've never been a big Joe Flacco fan. That's not to say that I think he's a bad quarterback. That's not to say that I think that I just generally don't like him. That's not it at all.
It's that I think
he's been overrated. That's where I come down on it. If Joe Flacco wins a second Super Bowl, that's when I'm going to be sitting up. That's when I'm going to say, okay, maybe this guy is truly something special.
So that will change your mind then about Flacco, and
it would.
You'd be willing to at least partake in that conversation.
I would be willing to at least stop being as critical. Let's put it that way. Yes. I mean, at that point, look. At that point, then you really can't say that he's overrated. So I really don't have an argument any longer, because if my argument is that he's overrated, then I can't make that argument any longer. Not realistically.
Yeah. See,
and that's where I come down on it, folks. I really do try to be very, very objective, and I recognize what my argument is. I say Joe Flacco was a very, very, very good quarterback this postseason. He was very good, and so therefore I give him a lot of credit. Do it again. Now you'll hear a different Frat House Mike talking about Joe Flacco.
But you'll never talk about Andy Dalton like that, ever.
Andy Dalton better start doing something in order for me to talk about him at all. Before we jump completely off...
Beautiful hair.
No, he doesn't. Let's jump...